Her behavior changed abruptly. The shift was palpable. It was as if overnight the atmosphere in the school had transformed. The once familiar and comforting environment now felt charged with an undercurrent of unease. Teachers whispered in hushed tones, and students seemed more cautious, as if sensing the change in the air. Our principal, once a distant figure, was now a constant presence. She used to be someone we saw only during important meetings or events, but now she was everywhere. Her footsteps echoed through the hallways, a reminder of her omnipresence. It was as if she had taken it upon herself to personally oversee every aspect of the school. Her new spot, directly facing the teachers' parking lot, filled me with unease. It was an odd place for her to be, and yet there she was every morning, watching. It felt like she was waiting for something, or perhaps someone. The sight of her standing there, with her arms crossed and a stern expression, made my heart race. Each morning, I felt her gaze before I even stepped out of my car. It was a heavy, almost tangible feeling, like a weight pressing down on me. I would take a deep breath, trying to steady my nerves, but the moment I saw her, all my efforts would crumble. Her eyes seemed to follow me, scrutinizing every move I made. It was as if she were a spider, patiently waiting in her web. The analogy was fitting. She was the center of this intricate network, and we were all caught in it. Every action, every word, seemed to be monitored and recorded. The sense of being constantly watched was suffocating. Gone were the days of slipping in unnoticed, grabbing a quick coffee, and preparing for the day. The casual, relaxed mornings had been replaced by a tense routine. We had to be on alert from the moment we arrived. There was no room for error, no chance to relax. Now, every arrival was a performance. We had to put on a brave face, act as if everything was normal, even though it was far from it. Adjusting our clothes, checking our makeup, making sure we looked presentable, it was all part of the act. We were actors on a stage, and the principal was our director, and the students and parents were the audience. Every stumble, a potential misstep. The pressure was immense. A careless mistake on paperwork could be seen as a sign of weakness. We had to be perfect, or at least appear to be. The fear of making a mistake was always at the back of my mind. The air crackled with tension. Staff meetings, once a place for collaboration and sharing ideas, had become a battleground. Every word was measured, every suggestion scrutinized. The camaraderie we once shared was replaced by a sense of competition and distrust. We were all on edge, waiting for the next shoe to drop. It's like, what's going to happen next? We were all under her microscope. It was a feeling that permeated every aspect of our work. In the classroom, in the hallways, even in the staff room, there was no escape. The principal's intense gaze seemed to be everywhere, and it was clear that she was looking for something. What that was, we didn't know, but the uncertainty only added to our anxiety. Time seemed to move differently under her watchful eye. The usual rhythm of the school day was disrupted, replaced by a constant state of alertness. Even the students noticed the change, yet their behavior stayed the same, which wasn't necessarily that good to begin with. It was an eerie mood over the teachers, staff, and admin. A toxic work environment, no doubt. She was never around until she suddenly decided to be. She could be at work, hidden in her office for weeks or months, then emerge from her cave to demand updates and change our plans. Conversations with colleagues became more guarded. We spoke in whispers, careful not to be overheard. The sense of camaraderie was still there, but it was overshadowed by a shared sense of fear. We were all in this together, but we were also on our own. Trust no one. The principal's presence was a constant reminder of the new reality we were living in. Her footsteps echoed through the empty hallways, a sound that we would have subconscious negative reactions to. It was a new era, and we had no choice but to adapt. We found small ways to cope. A tight grip on a Yeti cup, a deep breath before entering the building. These little rituals helped us get through the day. It wasn't much, but it was something. We all hoped that things would return to normal, that the principal's intense scrutiny would eventually ease. But for now, we had to endure. We had to find a way to navigate this new landscape, to survive in this shifted atmosphere. The alarm clock hadn't gone off. I rushed. The kids, the dogs, the lunches and book bags, my mind racing with the mountain of tasks ahead. We are late. Pulling into the school parking lot, already 15 minutes behind schedule, my heart sank. There she was. Her eyes, sharp and unwavering, followed my every move. I feel as she is simply stalking me. She asked me why I was late. I stated that I had started a new medicine the night before and I slept right through it. I did get a doctor's note stating just that, so I had proof. She told me to do better. That was her response. I stated that I was literally unconscious. She repeated to do better. I stated again that I was sleeping, my brain was unconscious, and there was literally nothing I could do until I woke up. A searing pain shot through my lower back as I got out of bed. It intensified with every movement. I pushed through, knowing that calling in sick would only invite further scrutiny. The walk from the parking lot was excruciatingly slow. Every step sent a jolt of pain through my body. I could feel her eyes on me, tracking my progress. Her gaze felt like harassment. My brain was overloaded, making it hard to focus on the task at hand. My mind was blank. It felt as if it wasn't making any connections. As I reversed in my driveway, there was a sickening crunch. My heart skipped a beat, and I immediately knew I had backed into something. My stomach dropped. I felt a wave of guilt and frustration wash over me. How could I have been so careless? The kids were okay, and I was okay. As for the dent in my vehicle, it's just another chapter in the story it tells. This day just kept getting worse. I was too numb to care. My mind was already at sensory overload for the day, and it was just 8 a.m. I had a roller coaster of thoughts ravage through my mind. I arrived at school just a few minutes late, around 8:02. As I walked towards my classroom, I noticed the principal standing at my door, waiting. The hardcore negative vibes fuming off of her were palpable. I could feel her eyes on me, judging every step I took. I stated, "I got in a small fender bender, so yeah." But she was cold as an icicle and had no response whatsoever. She didn't ask if my children were okay. She didn't ask if I was okay. It was as if my words had fallen on deaf ears. Later that afternoon, an email from the principal landed in my inbox. I had almost forgotten about the incident as I tried to focus on my work, but the notification brought it all rushing back. My heart raced as I clicked on the email, dreading what it might say. It was a cold, impersonal reprimand about reporting to work on time. The principal's words were harsh and devoid of any empathy. There was no acknowledgement of the stress I had been under, or the fact that I had been in a fender bender with my children. It felt like a punch in the gut. I was now pissed. The home mishap and the cold email had left me feeling more isolated and unappreciated than ever. She had single-handedly changed my mood because of her harassing behavior. Taking a deep breath, I resolved to not let this incident define my day. I reminded myself that this too shall pass. I knew I had the support of my Lord and Savior. I prayed so much and asked for guidance. I knew I had to keep going, for my sake and for the sake of my students who depended on me. I was going where God was leading me. The next day, I walked into my classroom with a renewed sense of purpose. My students greeted me with their usual enthusiasm, and I felt a glimmer of hope. Despite the challenges, I was determined to be the best teacher I could be. The home mishap and the cold email were just bumps in the road, and I was ready to move past them. As I began my lesson, I realized that the true measure of my worth wasn't in the mistakes I made, but in how I chose to overcome them. The support and appreciation of my students were what truly mattered, and I was grateful for the opportunity to make a positive impact on their lives. The rain had finally stopped, and a new day had begun. Thursday's despair, swelling, surveillance, and a lack of support. My leg was now twice its normal size, throbbing with pain. The doctor's diagnosis, a severe muscle strain. He advised rest and elevation. I knew I couldn't afford to take time off, not with her watching. I limped through the day, each step a reminder of my physical limitations and the complete lack of empathy from the person in charge. Her watchful gaze felt more oppressive than ever. Friday's frustration, delays, discomfort, and a feeling of defeat. The parent pickup line was a chaotic mess. Cars honked impatiently, adding to the already stressful atmosphere. My leg throbbed, and I longed to sit down. As I finally limped back into the building, the weight of the week crashed down on me. The constant scrutiny, the lack of support, the physical pain. It was all too much. Breaking point tears, isolation, and a moment of kindness. I couldn't hold it in any longer. The week had been relentless, just horrible, each day blending into the next with no respite. The students were more challenging than ever, the administrator continuing to stand at my door each morning, and the expectations seemed insurmountable. Tears streamed down my face as I was walking back to my classroom from the front office. My student had started to defecate his pants in the classroom, so I had taken him to the office bathroom because I was in heavy sensory overload. The emotional dam had broken. All the pent-up frustration, the sleepless nights, the constant worry about my students, my own kids, and my own inadequacies came rushing out. The weight of my bills. Will we be cold when we get home because I cannot afford to fix my central heat? I had always prided myself on being strong, on being the rock for my students, colleagues, and my family. But today, I felt like a fragile shell, ready to crack at any moment. As I was approaching my classroom door, I heard a sound that broke through my haze of despair, pulling me back to the present. I wiped my tears hastily, trying to compose myself, but the effort felt futile. It was the PE coach, his kind eyes filled with concern. He had always been a friendly face in the hallways, but today, he was more than that. He was a beacon of hope in my darkest hour. He had seen my tears flowing down my face in the hallway and sensed my distress. Without a word, he stepped over towards me and asked me if I was okay. His presence was calming, a stark contrast to the storm raging inside me. He offered words of comfort and a listening ear. He didn't try to fix everything or offer solutions. Instead, he simply listened, allowing me to pour out my heart. His simple act of being there, of showing that he cared, made all the difference. I then pulled up my big girl britches. In that moment, the principal just so happened to be walking down the hallway. Obviously, she had seen me visibly upset and speaking to Coach. She never made eye contact with me and kept straight walking with a comet of bad energy flowing behind her. It was a reminder to never trust her, the principal. Adding insult to injury, a fender bender and a cold shoulder. A small dent, nothing major, but it felt like the universe was conspiring against me. I finally made it to school. I got my 3 children out of the car and we walked into the school. She was standing right in front of my room again. It felt like she was constantly monitoring me, which was so invasive and oppressive. It felt heavy and stifling, making it hard to feel free or at ease. I just knew I could never truly trust her. The price of apathy, emotional exhaustion, and the need for change. The week concluded with a deep sense of emotional fatigue. It was one of the worst weeks I've ever experienced, dealing with just 2 students and their erratic behavior. The constant pressure, the lack of empathy, the feeling of being under a microscope, it had taken its toll. The students that scream so much that we have to put our fingers in our ears, the students that throw items and curse out others. Then there's the kid that would poop his pants. It was terror to change him in the bathroom. This experience had opened my eyes to the toxic culture that had taken root in our school. A culture where empathy was absent and fear was the primary motivator. This wasn't sustainable. Something had to change. But would it? I wasn't intimidated by her, and she was well aware of that. I made sure to advocate for myself and my students, which is a story for another day.